Okay.
I just hit my activity achievements.
Have you achieved things?
Yes, just now.
Oh,
just a little movement just made me hit
I
it.
thought you were running or something.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. You just faked it out a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. Okay. So today we're here to talk about, I feel weird starting it off that way, but so for like the last month and a half, I've been taking Wegovy, which is a weight loss drug, right? And I feel like a lot of people are kind of turning to this right now. It's originally a diabetes medication that they found also has uses in weight loss. And it goes by a couple different names. So it goes by Ozempic. It also goes by Wegovy. And I think there's like another one out there that it's just the brand name difference, but it's all a drug called, I have notes, semaglutide. So the brand name is Ozempic or Wegovy. So a lot of people are taking it for weight loss. I'm one of those people. When I started my weight loss journey, I weighed 304. I started taking the Wegovy when I was about 280 or so. So I'd had some success on my own following a whole food plant-based diet already. And then my doctor was like, hey, why don't you try this stuff? And I thought about it for a while before like jumping in. Like I wanted to know like the research and kind of like what's going on, right? So then I started taking it, and a month and a half later, I'm down to 255. So yeah, so I've almost hit the 50-pound mark as far as weight loss goes from the beginning of my journey until now. Where you keep going away.
I keep sneezing. I haven't sneezed this entire time up until we start recording.
Yeah. Oh no. So bless you. But
yes, thanks.
So does it work? Yes.
Does it? Does it work, Christina?
It does.
Because you've lost how many additional pounds since you started?
So when I started taking it, I was 280 roughly, maybe 275, like just kind of hovering in there. And now I'm at 255. So 20 to 25 pounds is what I've lost in the last month and a half since being on that medication.
That's awesome.
So Dr. Esselstyn actually posted on his Instagram page one of the things, and that's kind of what I'm referencing right now, is what he put together for that. But there was a study that showed that people taking it for 68 weeks, it's a long time, that's over a year, lost roughly 15% of their body weight. So for a 200-pound person, that would be 30 pounds, which is a significant amount of weight. One would argue that that's doable on your own, but it is still pretty significant. One of the things that I've noticed that it does is it, you know what, we'll get to it in a minute. I'm trying to go in order. So how does it work?
But it works, right? So it works because you've lost additional weight. It's giving you that added boost. It's like kind of that reset or jumpstart into something bigger, right?
Yeah. And for me, I felt like I needed something a little bit extra, a little bit more of a boost because of a couple things. One, I'm hypothyroid, so my thyroid's not working very well. Two, I have PCOS. It's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that messes with your hormones like crazy. And I won't get into that here, but a lot of people deal with that. It makes it very hard to lose weight. It makes you a lot more likely to have type 2 diabetes, even though I don't. A lot of people do, and it's like increased risk from having PCOS. So I have those couple of things working against me. makes it hard to lose weight for both of those. And then on top of that, I feel like I have an eating disorder in the evenings. So I can go all day without eating for the most part, just like on my own without the weight loss medications. I get so focused on things that I just either don't eat or, I plan my meals and I'll eat what I bring, but I'm not like thinking about food all day. And then I get home at night and it's like, I have to be eating something. Like as soon as I get home and like relax, I get like some serious munchies, right? And it's in the evening, it's every day. So that's a behavioral issue that I struggle with. So combined all of those things, like I needed a leg up, like I needed a little bit of help. So I gave in and I was like, you know what, well, we're going to try this. Right. So,
that's interesting that you say that you can go all day without eating, but like at the end of the day, like that's where you kind of like have at it.
I have time to think about it then.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, my whole day revolves around food. It's like the other extreme, like I'm like walking to work with my lunch bag, have my breakfast on the way to work because I have a 30-minute commute. Like, and then I'll think about what I'm going to make when I get to the house, like in the kitchen. And it's like, I mean, I don't think that's healthy really either. So, but that's
part of it's just being prepared. Like, we live in the way that we eat. We have to be prepared wherever we go because there aren't like, you can't just pick up a sandwich at McDonald's on the way to work. You know what I mean? So you have to think about it in the same way that people with allergies have to think about what they're going to eat. Because I mean, you might not be in a position where food is just readily available because it's not anything you eat.
Yeah, so, kind of like when I traveled the other day and I brought like 3/4 of my luggage was food. I was like, you know what? Bye. Have fun at your greasy meal. I'm going to stay in the hotel suite and make my own food. Yeah.
There you go. So really that's just planning ahead. And that might be part of the reason why I don't overeat during the day is because I will plan out, like I'll bring my breakfast, I'll bring my lunch, and those are the things. And aside from that, I don't have to think about it. And that's just part of having a healthy routine. And then I get home at night, I'm just like the routine's out the window. I don't know what I want to eat. I'll just kind of be, around the kitchen being like, I'm going to have some of this while I make some of that. And I don't know. Right. So I need better planning in the evenings, but I really do struggle because even when I do plan, I'll eat dinner and then I've got to munch on something. I want like crackers or candy or whatever. Bad decisions. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting though. Not to derail, I had to bring it up because I was thinking like before we went on this retreat and we met, like I went from being the snack lady. Like I always had snacks in my desk, or I always knew that when I was going to the snack bar, I would come back with like some snacks for everyone else. But now it's like, I've really tried to limit that. And it's like, well, Katie, what's wrong with you? And I'm like really trying to not think about food as much as I do. So, but to your point, like, certain people need different boosts. And this is the boost that you need. So,
yeah. So like one of the ways that this works is it just makes you not hungry anymore. So these medications were originally a type 2 diabetes medication because they lower your blood sugar levels and they regulate your insulin. And that's what their intended purpose is. So it's really just a side effect that it's good for weight loss. So the reason it's good for weight loss is the drug also imitates a hormone called glucagon-like peptide 1. I read that off.
Say that 10 times fast.
So we naturally produce that in our intestines, but since this imitates that, it reduces our appetite by signaling to our bodies that we're full and then prompting our stomachs to empty at a slower rate. So you just feel full faster is the simple way of saying all of that. So that's how it works. And that is what I need, especially in the evenings when I struggle so hard. Like one of the things that I've noticed for me is that if you do overeat, it's like, you don't even really have to overeat by that much. And it makes you feel almost kind of sick. Like you're like, oh my God, like I'm so full. I ate so much. And you're like, yeah, you ate 5 bites of food. Calm down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you feel like it. You feel so full. And it makes you not want to eat anything because it just makes you feel gross. Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
So speaking of effects, there are side effects. The side effects can be pretty extreme. So for those of you who don't know, these medications are an injectable medication. They're not like a pill that you take. It's an injection once a week, kind of like an EpiPen. It's like, and it's in. So once it's in, it's in. You know.
Ugh.
So
I do not do well with needles. No way, Jose.
you barely feel it, to be completely real. Like you put it on there and like you push you just push it in and then like that activates the needle and then it clicks and then you wait, like it like injects it and then it clicks again and then you're done. So you just have to make sure that contact stays there, but like you barely even feel the needle. It's so tiny. But they start you off on these with a really low dose and then you increase the dose over time. So they started me off with a 0.25 milligram dose, right? And that's the lowest possible dose. One of the things they're looking for are side effects. So they want to make sure that you're handling it okay before increasing it. So I was on the 0.25 for a month and had good effects, but I felt like those effects were starting to like subside a little bit with, like I was getting hungrier earlier in the week. I take mine on Wednesdays because that just happens to be when it started. But I'll inject it on Wednesday. And then by like Monday evening into Tuesday, I start just feeling really hungry again. So I could tell it's wearing off. So after a couple of weeks, it starts wearing off a little bit.
So this is a once a week kind of thing?
Once a week.
Oh,
so
okay.
When you get it, it comes in like a little pack and there's 4 injections in that. So at the end of the 0.25 milligram, I called my doctor and I was like, hey, I need a refill on this. Can we up it a level? Because I'm starting to have the effects kind of wear off a little too soon.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, we'll do it. Well, the next step is 0.5. And they prescribed 1 by accident.
Stop.
Yep. So I jumped from 0.25 to 1 in 1 week. So side effects. Most common side effects are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. And then like the rare ones, like those were the common ones. The rare ones are like vision change, pancreatitis, hypoglycemia, kidney problems, gallbladder problems, thyroid tumors, cancer, all the crazy ones that, they list off on all the commercials for every medication out there. Like this cancer drug may give you cancer. Like that's, those are those crazy effects. So I have not gotten cancer yet, but I have had some nausea. So for me, the nausea gets pretty intense. And when they jumped me, like I didn't experience any side effects on the 0.25, like none, aside from being not hungry, which was great. But the 1 milligram, I was vomiting for like 3 days. Like not
How long ago did they up you?
They upped me. This was 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, I took the 1 milligram, had horrible side effects. Like I woke up, I took it Wednesday evening and I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning on Thursday and was vomiting. And then I was vomiting like every couple of hours until Friday.
Oh my gosh.
And then
that's a way to lose weight.
And then Saturday, vomiting again.
Jeez.
Just like once or twice. And then it was okay. So I called the doctor on Thursday and went, what happened? Because I feel horrible, right? Well, that's when we discovered that they gave me the wrong one. And I should have been on 0.5. So they said, you're just going to have to ride it out because there's no way to get it out once you put it in, right?
Oh my gosh.
You have to ride it out. And then we're going to skip a week. And then the next week, we'll start you on the 0.5.
Side
So
note, do you trust your doctor? Like, have you had issues with your doctor in the past or no?
no, my doctor's awesome.
Okay.
But I think this was a miscommunication because they were intending to up me to the 0.5 and I
Yeah.
asked to increase it. So they increased it and then I asked to increase it and we didn't. It was a communication issue, I think, my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think they really messed anything up. I think they were going to do it and then I asked for it. And
Yeah.
they did it twice. So, so lesson learned, don't do that. But okay, so I skipped a week and then the next week I took the 0.5 and then the next day I did vomit once, but that's it. Huge
Okay.
improvement, right?
Yes.
So right now I am on my second dose of the 0.5 and the second time I took it, no side effects.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of about building up a tolerance to the side effects of
Yeah.
and little dizziness. I get a little bit of dizziness every now and then, but that's it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
So
those are.
how long are you planning on or supposed to take this? Is it until you reach your goal weight then, or is there a certain time period they suggest? Like, how does that work?
Um, I don't know. That's something to definitely ask. I would want to be on it until I am at least close to my goal weight.
Yeah.
My goal weight, my husband will disagree. My goal weight is 150. My husband's concerned that if I get under 200 pounds, I'm just going to look like sickly thin. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Is your
So,
husband also trying to lose weight or no?
well, he's one of those irritating people that can, like, decide to eat a bag
Oh,
of Doritos and go mow the lawn and still lose 5 pounds. And
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
gone.
how he
Yeah.
does it. It's starting to get harder for him as he gets older. Like, it doesn't come off quite as quickly.
Hmm.
And just in the last like month and a half or so, like he's been much stricter about his diet and he's
Hmm.
eating the same way that I eat. And he tended to do the whole junk food vegan thing quite a
Yeah.
bit. But once he started eating more whole food plant based, he's lost like 20 pounds. Like it's just not fair. I'm just
That's
saying.
insane.
So he is 6'3" and about 270 right now. But I mean, it's like stretched out, and he's,
Yeah.
it's not fair. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I
But
know guys have this weird, like, I mean, they just fluctuate so drastically, right? It's like
yeah,
crazy how fast they go up and
and
down, up and down.
not fair. So
No.
that kind of brings us to what happens when you do stop. So my goal is to get down to about 150 pounds, and I think that will be a very healthy weight for me. I'm 5'5", 5'6". I'm not built like a tiny person. So I mean, I don't think I'm one of those people who's going to get down to 125, and like I don't think that's a reasonable goal for me. I think
I think
150 is a
50 is
reasonable goal.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a healthy weight.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'd be honestly, I'm going to be super ecstatic just to be under 200 pounds because it has been so long since I've been that weight.
Yeah.
Like that's just going to be like a party day for me. But to get to 150, that'd be perfect. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
um, but like, what happens when you stop? So, um, what they've found is that most people who stop taking, like once you stop taking the injections, most people gain back about 2/3 of the weight that they've lost.
Really?
Yes. Now, the reason why you're going to regain that weight is all of a sudden you're hungrier again and you haven't changed any of the
You eat a
actual,
burger.
huh?
You eat a burger.
Exactly. So you're going back to the same foods that you were eating and now the same volume that you were eating that got you to that weight to begin with.
Mm.
So if I come off of this medication and then start going out to eat all the time and going to McDonald's and going to Starbucks every day, and all of those behavior patterns that I had in place that got me to the 304 pounds that I was at to begin with. Well, if you do the same behaviors, you're going to get the same result you got the first time, which was getting fat.
Yeah.
So people need to use this time knowing that that's the result. And I don't think that's the result of coming off the medication. It's not like you're not on this medication and then, all of a sudden you just gain weight. It's because you're going back to the same patterns and the same habits that got you the result to begin with. All those things need to change.
Yeah. You can't look at the medication as a magic wand. It's got to be a behavioral change as well. And you're lucking out because you have the plant-based lifestyle and the, medication.
Exactly.
And then once you go off of that, your entire life has already changed anyway. So you can help ride that out.
Exactly. So if you change those things now and start eating the whole food plant-based diet, it's not only going to help you with your weight loss while you're on this medication, but it'll help you maintain that weight loss once you come off. So use this as a tool to help get you to your goal, and then continue using this way of eating to keep you at your goal and to keep you healthy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about making those long-term healthy changes. And if you are using this medication in the long term, like if you're using it for 6 months to a year or a year and a half, that's plenty of time to build new habits.
Yeah.
And change your whole lifestyle. So, what does it cost?
I heard this one can be pricey.
It is. So my insurance does not cover it. A lot of insurances don't cover it. And there's a clause in most of these things that says like doesn't cover injectable medication or whatever. That's what happened with mine. I don't have any injectable medications approved at all. I found that out the hard way. So, I mean, that would be like EpiPens and insulin and all of that stuff, injectable medication. So I'm glad I'm not an insulin dependent type 2 diabetic.
Yeah,
just saying.
For sure.
So without insurance and without anything else at CVS, the Wegovy is around $1,300
for a month.
For a month.
Wow.
So I found my sister found it because my sister is also taking this, but she found a coupon that Wegovy puts out that takes up to $500 off of your medication if your insurance doesn't cover it. So mine covered like $400 somewhere in there. So I'm paying about $960 a month for a month's supply of this stuff. So yes, it's very expensive. On the other hand,
I'm trying to do the math right now. So $960 a month is like $240 a week, which is about $35 a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But if you've made the decision and you're committed to doing this and you feel like you truly need the help to get there, it works.
It sounds like there's almost some like pre-work, like if it's a financial issue, like why maybe you wouldn't be interested in something like this, you can prepare for it in that way, right? Knowing what it's going to cost you. Maybe people would like to see that coupon available. If there's a link, maybe we share that in the show notes too. But it's almost like you have to prepare for it. But then if you're committed, to the plant-based life or whatever healthy lifestyle you want to live and change your behaviors, then it's a short-term pain for long-term gain,
I would say, because like I was eating whole food plant-based for a little over a year before doing this. And granted, I was not perfect. We all make mistakes. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying sometimes.
Well, progress over perfection, right? That's what we said. Exactly. Yep.
Sometimes you're going to make mistakes, but I was eating whole food plant-based for a little over a year, and I had lost. So I went from like 304 down to 275, 280, somewhere in there. So that I lost half the weight that I've lost before taking this medication. I just felt like I needed the extra help. And right now I'm in a financial position where I can choose to take this route. And I'm thankful for that. But not everybody's going to be in that situation.
Right.
So I would recommend, first and foremost, getting on a whole food plant-based diet, following the rules of calorie density, and making sure that, because I mean, ultimately, weight loss is going to come down to eating fewer calories than you consume. That's just the physics of it. And making sure that you're paying attention to calorie density and eating a whole food plant-based lifestyle is going to get you there eventually.
And you might save money doing that, right? Like save money. Yeah. Like what you got a bag of rice, right? How many pounds was that bag of rice and for how much?
A like 25-pound bag of rice for like $25.
Yeah. So like $1 a serving, right? And
well,
then
that's a pound. Like I'm not going to make a whole
shoot. Yeah.
Like that bag of rice is going to like last me for 8
25
months.
cents a serving.
Yeah, this was my expensive grocery trip, the last grocery trip, because I stocked up on all my bulk rice stuff.
Yeah.
But
it will ultimately save you.
Yeah. No, I compare my grocery bill to like people around me at the store, because you owe this much.
Yeah.
And like we'll go to the grocery store, and for me, my husband, and my dad, who we're shopping for, we spend about $120 a week.
I was just going to say that's fair with what I have. Yeah.
Can you imagine if we were buying meat and cheese and milk and eggs at the prices those things are right now? We'd be spending double that easy.
At least. Yeah.
Crazy. No, thank you.
No.
Last week was a little higher. Like we went to, so I always go to the Asian grocery store.
Yeah.
That's near us to get things like rice and like my sushi wrappers when I want to make sushi. And honestly, they've just got awesome veggies and they're usually cheaper. So we went there and we spent about $80 because, I got a big bag of white rice, a big bag of brown rice, and then a little brick of black rice. I should have brought that. I should have like shown you my little brick of black rice.
Yeah.
But it's all like vacuum sealed and everything. And then some veggies and fruits and stuff. So that was about $80. Yeah. But I'm only going to spend that one time. I'm not going to shop for rice for another 6 months or so.
Yeah, you've got time. Yeah.
But yes, it's cheaper.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So it sounds like overall it's a pretty good thing as long as you're supplementing it with other, changes in your life as well.
Exactly. I mean, everybody should be really using it as a tool to develop good habits in their life that will keep them on this journey. Because the last thing anybody wants after they've gone through all of the hard work and committed the time to really losing the weight is for all of it to come back. I mean, it's a horrible feeling. I mean, the last time that I lost, like during my little bit over a year journey on the diet, when it was just the diet, no weight loss drugs, I got down to 261 was the lowest that I got down to. And then I fell off the wagon a little bit and gained like 20 pounds back. And like when you're gaining that weight back, especially me, because I am an expert at gaining weight, I'm really good at it. And when you're gaining it back, you can feel it coming back on. Like I could feel myself laying in bed at night going, I shouldn't have had that to eat. I can feel myself gaining weight because you feel bloated and you feel like you can almost feel yourself expanding. I don't know how to really explain it, but it is a horrible feeling. And then once you get stuck in that cycle of continuing to make bad choices, it's like you can't stop yourself from doing it, but you're sitting there going, oh my God, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah. I feel like my legs get really hot, like at night, if I, like they like start to burn and almost like hot to the touch if I like eat too much or I'm eating the wrong things or something. So your body definitely knows.
Yeah, totally. Totally. So develop the good habits.
Yeah.
I mean, to succeed at anything, you have to develop the habits around it, because motivation fades, and it's going to be the discipline that you have in place to do things you don't want to do because you know you should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hate to do things because you should do things. I feel like that's not helpful, but sometimes
Yeah.
you have to do hard things. You have to make the decision that you're going to. It's like being in a relationship. It's like being married, you know, like you have
Yeah.
to make that decision to love each other every day, because
Yeah.
sometimes that shit's hard.
Yeah.
And if somebody's not making that decision every day, the relationship falls apart. And it's the same thing with a diet or developing any new behavior pattern, where if you're not making the decision that I'm going to be committed to this
Hmm.
every day, if you don't have that dedication, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's why so many, like, you know, you see it around like New Year and stuff like that, where people are like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to be healthy. And most of them will get through like 2 weeks. Some
Yeah.
like really, really strong people will get through like to
2
February.
months, 3. Yeah. Right.
But after a certain point, motivation fades.
Yeah.
And developing these habits is what's going to let you maintain that discipline, because you can only make so many decisions a day. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, there's a word for it. It's decision fatigue. Like, there are
Yeah.
literally only so many decisions you can make during the day. And that's why people who have jobs, they can get through their whole day, and then they get home and they're done with making decisions, and you just order a pizza, you know, because trying to
Yes.
make decisions about what you're going to cook and what order you're going to cook it and how you're going to put things together, that's too much. Just order the pizza. Fuck it. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And that's how
Yeah,
we
I've heard before, like you mentioned the New Year's like resolutions and things. I've heard that people have like some best practices for that is like pick like the first day of the month where you're going to try to restart and like reset, because like we said last time, like it's progress over perfection, and you just have to keep trying. Like you know, it's easy to get down and hard on yourself, but if it's like the one day out of the month or every Monday or whatever that like key moment is to remind yourself that you have to keep trying, that will help build those habits.
So, like, one of the things I would say to that is there are so many people who are going to start next Monday or next month or what have you. And when you set goals that are so far out,
Mm-hmm.
you're more likely to, one, not do it,
Mm-hmm.
and two, use the time in between to really binge.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to start on Monday. I'll just have the pizza now.
True. Yeah.
Or I'll just
that
order the
makes sense.
Chinese food now. That's my downfall. I love Chinese food.
Yeah.
And that's just a normal human reaction. There's no shame in that. But when you give yourself that much time, you end up making more bad decisions to compensate by saying, in the future, I'm going to
Yeah.
get better.
Yeah.
And that future might never come.
Right.
So one of the things that I took away from the retreat that we went on was that when you make a bad decision, that food stays in your body. Like, those effects are happening in your body for the next 5 to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the next time that you have an opportunity to fix the damage that you just did by eating the donut is in 5 to 6 hours. It literally is your next meal. So just get comfortable saying, I just screwed up, because we
Yep.
all do. I had this stuff that's going to make me feel horrible and is going to be gross for like the next 5 to 6 hours. And at that point, I'm free and clear, and those decisions are behind me, and I can move forward.
For sure.
Because it's so easy, and I do it. It's so easy to get to that point where you're like, I just had a hamburger. I just screwed up all of the progress that I've made for the last month because I ruined it. Like my body was in this perfect state of compliance for this long, and now I just screwed it up. I'll start again next Monday. And then you order dessert on top of that hamburger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that makes sense. It's more attainable to remember that 5 to 6 hour mark for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give you enough time to be like, screw it.
Yeah.
I'll just make another bad decision until I get to that point that's over there.
Yeah.
And then I'll worry about it.
Right.
Then I'll be perfect. Then I'll be better. Because we're never going to be perfect, you know? And it's a process, and changing our habits and, you know, changing our lifestyle. You know, people say that it's become very like cliche to be like, oh, it's a lifestyle change. Is it?
Sure is.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can say it, but are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And it's a lifestyle
my
change.
luggage was 3/4 food.
Yeah.
That's a lifestyle change.
Yes.
Good, healthy, whole food, plant-based food.
So
No oil.
speaking of developing new habits, non-food rewards. So I have a horrible habit, and it was instilled in me as a child. I'm sure there are tons of parents who do this too, so I'm not judging. But I distinctly remember in second grade, we started having spelling tests. This was a new thing. Like up until this point, it was just like, yay, you counted to 10. Good job.
Yeah.
And now we have tests, right? So my first couple spelling tests, I absolutely tanked them. One, because I didn't realize we were having a test. They used to send a sheet home, and my parents were supposed to be paying attention to that. They were not. We didn't realize. It had a list of like 10 spelling words on it. Had no idea. So failed the first couple miserably, and then we realized the tests are a thing. So we would sit down every night and we would study, and I'd copy over my spelling words and all that stuff. And the goal here was to get to the end of the week and take the test. And if I got 100% on that test, I got to go get ice cream.
Ooh.
So, yes.
Where did you go get ice cream?
Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes I even got a double scoop. It just depended on how my dad felt that day. So yeah, I really wanted to do well on that test, and that was very motivating because I also really liked ice cream. So that became my thing. And from that point on, like that was the beginning for me that I consciously remember of food being a reward for good behavior, for an achievement, for whatever it was in life that I was trying to succeed at. If I achieved that, I got food, and it was good.
Yeah.
So it's really, really easy to get into the habit of rewarding yourself with food. It doesn't have to be a parent or a spouse or whatever providing it for you. You can, people, I've said it to myself before, we all do. Like, you know what? I've had a really hard week this week, but I got through it. I deserve this meal.
Treat yourself.
It's
Yeah.
really bad for me. You know, you've got to do it every once in a while. Like, you know, just let yourself have it. You deserve it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, is what you're eating going to cause heart disease, cause diabetes, cause you to be further from your bigger goals of being healthy or more active or losing weight?
Right.
If it is not going to further the bigger picture goals that you have in life, it's not a reward. It's a setback. But food causes that dopamine response in your brain, makes you happy. So it's a short-term reward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we get hooked on it, you know?
Right.
So I was listening to a podcast. Have you heard of what is she called? Her name's Chelsea. Lean with Plants. The Lean with Plants podcast. Awesome girl. She's from New Zealand. She's totally real. She just kind of like puts it out there. This is her, and she's awesome. But one of the things that she has is like a support group kind of thing that you can join, and you know, like everybody's got. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls that's in her group said that the way she gets around doing, like, rewarding herself with food or, making a bad decision or whatever, is she looks at it and she says, my goals are bigger than that. My goals are bigger than that hamburger. My goals are bigger than that milkshake, than, whatever it is that's tempting you at that time. My goals are bigger than that. And that helps to kind of refocus her and move her towards things she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in that same mindset, I've been trying to get away from rewarding myself with food. And one of my goals for a long time is to be able to ride horses again. So I rode horses when I was a kid, like 6, 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved them to pieces. But for a good chunk of my more recent life, I've been too heavy to ride them. In both, it's hard to find horses that can carry the load, because I weighed 304. Most like trail riding places have a weight set at 240. So if you weigh more than that, then they don't have a horse for you.
Yeah.
And it's also just really uncomfortable to ride when you're that big.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be able to sit up straight and, be active for an hour, because like, you're not just sitting there. Like, there's a lot of muscles involved with, being able to control a horse and communicate effectively with that horse, with your legs, with your arms. Like, it's not all just like hanging on and sitting there and bouncing along. So that was a goal for me to get back to. And
wait, you said was?
What?
You said was?
Yes. So I've gotten there.
What?
So yes, I've gotten to a point where I have, I've almost, I'm down to 255. So it's not the 240 that most places require, but I found a place that's only about an hour away from me. And they have a draft horse that I can ride. He's a Belgian draft horse. And
Nice.
Oakley. And he's amazing. He likes to eat while we're riding a little bit, but I'll give him. We'll be like going down the trail and he'll just be like, look, a tree, and he'll go eat the tree. And I'm like, dude, please, my guy, like, get back.
We are riding.
Yeah, we're doing things here. So my skills are not what they used to be when I was 7. So I need to build that up a little bit again. But so I went out and met him. So to give you an idea of carrying capacity, most trail riding places like to keep the weight of the riders at about 15 to 20% of the overall weight of the horse. So let me do math. The average, like, American quarter horse, you're looking at a horse that weighs between 900 and 1,100 pounds, right? So let's just take the middle ground and say 1,000-pound horse. The highest carrying capacity for that horse, say if you're trying to be conservative, at 15%. So 15% would be 150 pounds. 20% would be 200 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what they try to keep it in, because that horse could potentially be going out on trails all day. They don't want to overexhaust the horse.
Yeah.
And they found that once you get to like 25% of their weight for like the rider, then you're putting unnecessary stress on the heart and on the muscles. They're sore the next day when they shouldn't be, or they're sore for longer than they should be. And it's just bad. Yeah. So I'm getting too technical into horsey things. I'm sorry. But
you're horsing around. Stop horsing around.
So this Belgian draft horse, a Belgian draft horse is typically between like 1,900 and 2,100, 2,200 pounds, right? So they can carry essentially double the weight. Yeah. So instead of 200, I think the one I was riding, he could carry potentially up to like 445 pounds or something like that. I mean, it was a significant weight. I think they said the heaviest rider they had on him was 375.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's big. So I do have a little video of when I was grooming him. So
Ooh.
I
Oh,
was
look at
getting
how
ready to
happy he
saddle
is.
up, and I was like brushing his back, and that one spot, he really liked it. So he just,
Aw,
yeah,
so
he really
cute.
liked that. But then I've got this other video. This is me on him.
There
So we're
you are.
walking down the trail. So this is my non-food reward. Isn't he so
Goal accomplished. Check, check.
yes. Awesome.
What's your next goal? Do you
To
have
keep
one
doing
yet?
that.
Keep doing it.
Keep
That's
doing
great.
that. So my next goal is to be able to ride horses that don't have to be draft horses.
Yeah.
As awesome as he is, they have very wide rib cages.
Mm,
It's like a barrel, and sitting on them can be kind of uncomfortable because
yeah.
your legs are wrapping out so far.
Oof.
So to be able to ride, let me see if I can find it. I had a picture of a couple of the other horses that were on the ride, and they were just gorgeous. Okay, let me see if it will let me. So anyway, there was a picture that I had of a couple of horses that were on the trail and or on like the trail ride with us, and they were normal sized horses, and I think they were just like American quarter horses,
Yeah.
and yeah, they looked way more comfortable.
My
I like
gosh.
my big guy, but I'm gonna have to be under 200 pounds to ride them. So that's my next goal is to lose another 50 pounds so that I can ride those horses. But until then, I can ride Oakley.
Here's a picture of an American quarter horse.
Yeah. That is true.
Versus
Ooh, now look up a picture of a Belgian draft horse.
they're big.
So like
Look at that big round belly.
the one next to it, the Palomino one. Yeah, that one. That's kind of what Oakley looked like. Except he had some spots.
Wow.
But yeah. They're very big, they're very thick.
Yeah, stocky.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, those are goals.
Nice.
Like that has more meaning to me than going and getting ice cream. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and to be able to do it well, I need to be able to achieve some of my other goals in life, like to lose weight.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do just kind of around that, instead of just going on trail rides, is I want to start taking lessons again so that I can get better at the communication between me and the horse and, you know, be able to steer them a little better and maybe do like some trotting and cantering and all of
Yeah.
that because that requires a lot of balance and a lot of core muscles and all that. So
Yeah. No,
there's a lot
that's
going
great.
on there.
That's
But
awesome.
I know another thing that we wanted to talk about was non-food social outlets. So like it gets hard not being able to participate in group functions so much. And like we kind of talked about it a little bit before, like, you know, how do people do this? Because so much of society revolves around food.
Yeah.
And like, you
You've got
know,
happy hour, you've got lunch meetings, you have catering, you have the bar, you know.
exactly. And, you know, we talked about like, what do people who are successfully living this lifestyle, like, what do they do as a group? And I think, you know, one of the things that we brought up was, you know, you look at Rip and his family and the way people talk about them, like, obviously we haven't seen their day to day life,
Yeah.
but you know, people talk about them and it's like they're always in the pool or out riding bikes or out doing something, not out
Mhm.
eating something, you know, like for them, it seems that food is what allows them to have the energy to go partake in life,
Right.
not the other way around. So, like I noticed on Instagram the other day, Lori posted, like she was the star of the show, and she was talking about getting ready to go do pickleball, which we know Rip is obsessed with. And she said he booked like a 4-hour time slot on the pickleball court, so she knew she was going to be there forever. And I mean, it was a plug for their granola, but I mean, it applied because like she was going to be there for 4 hours
hours.
playing pickleball. So yeah, you're going to need a snack, and their granola is really good. But that like those are the kind of things that they do. So I don't know if you have an input on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if it's like, oh, like let's go to happy hour. Like if there's some kind of like break or something that you could do, like maybe walking around the neighborhood instead of like going to happy hour, like is there an activity that you guys can do where people can get their happy hour in, but you still are, like there's what is it, Top Golf or something, or do something where there's an activity. Um
Oh, I hadn't
I
even thought about Top Golf.
Yeah.
I've never golfed. I have no idea how to do that and succeed.
It's like you've got to fail safe because the ball's going to go in some kind of hole regardless. It's, you don't have to be good at it, you just get it in the hole. So, and like it's getting nicer outside too, so like we have a bike ride that we do that helps raise money for cancer research. It's called Pelotonia. And so that ride usually takes place the first weekend of August. But all up until August, I need to start training. So I need to get on the bike. So something like that is nice and motivating to get together with, like, whether it's work or friends or whoever, where we just ride for like a few hours, maybe just an hour, whatever time you have available, and just kind of use that as your activity. And then that way, you've got your healthy breakfast here at home, and then you go for the bike ride and you don't have to worry about it. So
How cool would it be if somebody made a like a social group, like a real life one? You can have like chapters in each area where it can
yeah,
be like plant-based happy hour. So like
yeah,
people who live this kind of lifestyle can like go do an activity or something that's not surrounded by food and bad food choices and all of that, but has those like-minded people
yeah,
all kind of following this lifestyle and like things you can do
I
with
agree.
people. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah, I know we kind of talked about that at the retreat too. And like the more I think about it, I'm just like, at some point, it would be nice to just like get away and detach from my life to like be surrounded by the community that we are a part of. Um, and yeah, I mean, I know there's like meetup and stuff. There was someone on the Plant Strong community page, Facebook page, and she's from like kind of the Metro Detroit area. And when I was in Michigan last week, I was with my mom and I was like, oh my gosh, she just posted like she's in the area and she wants people to join this group because they can meet up and like do all these things. And I'm like, Mom, would you be interested? Like, I might have to drive to Michigan for that because that's where I'm from. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. So I think more of us like that, doing things like that. I think you and I are doing this where we're staying connected and then even bringing other people in from our retreat group, I think will be a super helpful thing. But yeah, just like finding that community around you and then getting out there and just continuing on, but also figuring out how to navigate those nuances with your non-plant-based friends, right? Like those people who just want to go out and have a drink or have like, a burger or something, figuring out how to navigate that conversation.
Yeah. Like it's definitely hard because, we're kind of a niche community and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be mainstreaming,
Yeah.
and still be like socially acceptable because I don't know about you, but when I go out with people, I get a lot of pressure to eat what they're eating.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to eat what they're eating.
Yeah.
Like, I like hanging out with them and spending that time with them, but I can't eat a, chili cheese dog. I mean, that's gonna hurt
Yeah.
later, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I forget what I said, but because I was traveling for work and someone said, "Oh, I found out that you're vegan." And I was like, "Oh, you did? That's weird. How'd you find that?" Like, it just was random.
How did you
But
find
also,
that out? It's not like I have a vegan record or
I know,
something.
but also like what I said, I think what I said. So they said that, and then like a few hours later I had mentioned how like I'm not really drinking or whatever, and I was like, even though I don't drink and I'm not vegan, I still have something to live for. And I kind of made a joke like, or did I say not drink and not vegan? Even though I don't drink and I am vegan, like I still have something that I live for. And I just kind of made that joke to like mock me in a way. And they were all like, "Well, I wasn't going to say that." And I'm like, "Well, like I know you're thinking
That's
it,"
what it
kind of thing.
implies. So, like, you don't
Yeah.
drink and you don't eat crappy food, then what do you do?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like, the rest of life, what do you
I
do?
just want to live my life. Yeah. And because you have those people who are like, "Well, you only live once," kind of thing. And like, yeah, you only live once, but I'm making better decisions so that I can live on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. We're all going to die one day.
Right.
I would rather live, you know, healthy and active with no chronic illness and feeling like crap as
Yeah.
long as possible, and then just kind of die.
Yeah.
Instead of like getting into my mid 50s to mid 60s and then just being constantly sick and on a million medications because like that's kind of where my dad is right now. And
Yeah.
I don't want to end up there.
Yeah.
He's very, very sedentary.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been walking. And by walking, I mean he gets to like he goes 2 houses down the street and turns around and comes back. He goes on like 3.5 to 5 minute walks and he's exhausted.
Yeah.
He's got to start somewhere. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he's got
Sure.
high blood pressure. He's got type 2 diabetes. He's on a million different medications. The side effects of those medications are like fatigue and achiness and all this stuff. So he just feels like crap all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want that to be like the last 30 years of my life, just feeling like crap and never having energy and always feeling like, because he'll just be like, oh, well, this is just getting old. And I'm like, no,
No way.
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's the choices that you're making. And it's the choices that you made for the last 30 years that are going to affect the next 30 years.
Right.
It all adds up. It's not like,
Yeah.
you eat a salad once and then like, you're blessed and you go on with life. Like all this stuff, it's cumulative,
It sure is. Yeah. Yeah. You're just burying it for later, when you're early on. And then when you're there, you're like, okay, well, you only live once. Let me eat another burger. But then it's like you're suffering at the same time. And it's kind of just a seesaw.
Well, like it really makes you think of like really look at that saying, you only live once. You really do. You only live once.
Yeah.
Don't make decisions that are going to make this once in a lifetime experience horrible for the last
Right.
of it.
Right.
Like you only get to live one time. Make good decisions so that you can make the most of it because you've only got one shot.
For sure.
So
Exactly.
perspective.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for this podcast.
Yes.
And we're gonna have to call it a day. Should we
Yes.
should we exit with more music?
Yeah.
Let's exit with more music.
Woo!